Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Exit 45 Restorations. Today we're going to do this a cut and buff. Not the whole car. We're going to get as much as I can done, but mostly what I want to do is just go through the process with you, start to finish. All right, let's get at it. So let's start with what I'm going to be using. I've got a couple of 1,000 and 1,200 grit. I'm going to go ahead and start with the 1,200 grit. This here, I just cut it up into sections, and I've already, let me walk you over here, I've already got it soaking in the water. So you want to kind of pre-soak these and get them wet. It's a little cool this morning, so my temperature of choice is warm. Anyways, so that means we're going to start this out with 1,200 grit. And then I've got two other grits here. I've got a 1,500 and a 3,000. So I'm going to go from 1,200 to 1,500 to 3,000. And then I will start the buffing process. But first, let's get through the cutting process. Let's get all this done, and then we'll talk about that. So I think that's soaked long enough over there. Oh, the other thing you'll need is some sort of something to sand with, water bottle, something to spray some water on there. You need to keep it wet, so have something like that. Otherwise, I think that's about it. Maybe a warmer day would be good, but you can't do anything about that, can you? So anyways, I just wanted to go over what I'm going to be using to, let's get started on this. I guess it's time. Let's do it. All right, so start off, you can see I've wet the area down, and you're not going to work really big areas. You're just going to work small areas at a time. And I've got my wet sandpaper sitting here. And there's no, you don't have to work in any certain direction. At this point, we are just working on taking out that orange peel that's in there. That's all we're working on doing. And one of the things you want to worry about is staying off of your body lines, your corners, edges like this, up along here. Those will, if you hit those and you're sitting there sanding on those, you're going to just burn right through your clear coat. And that's the last thing you want to do, because then you got to stop and you got to get some more clear coat on there. So you don't want to do that. So anyway, just keep the area you're working wet. Just keep working. And what you're going to do is, after you've worked for a while, you'll stop, and then I'll show you once I get to that point. But we can stop now. I've worked it for a little bit. Let's dry it off. And see if we've gotten all of the defects out of it. And so you can see we're starting to lose our shine. But what you're wanting to see is that you have kind of an even, dull look to it. And you can see we still got some spots where there's some trash in the paint still. And you can see as we cross the line, so you can see right here is where I stopped sanding. And you can see as we cross that line, we get back into the paint the way it was. And one thing I want you to notice, I'm going to dry that, but I want you to notice kind of what it was like in the beginning and the end. So if you look at those fluorescent lights up there, you can see that they're not a very crisp line. The definition of the image is blurry on all the edges. And that's what the cut and buff does. It takes that orange peel. There's a slight orange peel. This didn't get too bad of an orange peel. It laid out pretty good. But it has orange peel, and you can tell that by the light. And you can see that kind of a blurred edges. And you can see as we move it along, it's just dancing around on them edges as it moves in and out of all that orange peeling. So what we want to do is get to here, and we're going to take that orange peel out. We're going to sand this out till it's nice and smooth, and then we'll buff it back to a polish. And then you won't have those blurred lines. We'll also get rid of our trash. All right, I'm going to keep working at it, and I'll keep bringing you in and showing you where things are at. And you can see I'm constantly wanting to keep this thing wet. I don't want it drying up on me. All right, so let's see what we got. You want to keep checking it. The other thing you don't want to do, if you don't want to sand through your clear coat, okay? And we talked a little bit about not doing that on your edges, but just in general, if that happens, you'll know it, because what's going to happen is the color of the clear coat as you're sanding it is kind of a milky color. And what you'll start to see is the color of the paint. So on this particular area, I would start to see the water and everything I'm working on as I'm sanding would start to have that purple in that water. And then I would know that I cut through my clear coat. And that's a bad day, because then you're hitting with another couple of layers of clear coat to fix it. Scuff down the whole car just to put another clear coat on. Well, I guess not the whole car, but you got to blend it into where you're at. Anyway, so we're getting there. Still got some trash areas in it, but we're starting to get the orange peel out. Yep. So, you can see this dull area starting to get more uniform. That's really what you're looking for, is to try and get that dull area nice and uniform, and that you don't see any dimpling or any of the old color. You want this dull. All right. All right, I'm going to keep working at it. Okay, so I've been working on it, and I want to bring you back in, and you can see how consistent this is looking. We're not seeing any of the old orange peel. It's nice and flat and smooth. What I've got here is still just a couple of small areas, one right there. And I got a couple of areas here along the edge that I've been being real careful of. And you can see I haven't really gotten on this edge here. So this is what we're looking for, where we're starting to get this nice even look. So what I'll do is take some sandpaper by hand, and I'll just work these areas right in here so that I don't roll over, onto this edge and burn through my clear coat, which is super easy to do. I'm going to tell you, it's all these edges, that clear coat will burn right off. So you got to be careful. Really cut and buff, that's all it's about. Cutting down the clear coat till it's nice and smooth and flat, and then buffing it back to a shine. Anyways, I'm going to work these couple of areas, and then I'm going to work my way down the car, And then what I'd like to do is we'll switch over and we'll start the whole thing over again, working up our grits, and then we'll get to the buffing stage. All right. All right. So this area is done, and just take note that all of the areas that we noted, the little where the trash was and all that, and it feels very nice, very smooth. We got all of the orange peel out. We got all the trash out. And I want to show you something just so you can see the difference. Sorry about that. I got a little bit. You can see the light right there. So you see that. You can kind of see what that looks like. Look at that. See what that looks like when you get into an area that's been done? Look how crisp and clean those lights look. Now watch as I pass and get into, look at that. See how it changes? Once I start to get into and then you can see as I get over here, of course. All that. So you can see how crisp and clean those lines look on those lights. Look at the reflection, how crisp and clear it is. Just wanted to show you that, what the end result, when I'm done buffing it, that's what you're going to get. It's going to be very, very smooth. The reflection on it is going to be very, very clear. And you'll lose all of those lines. Anyway, all right, I'm going to work the rest of this, and then I'll bring you in when I'm ready to go to the next stage. Sorry, guys. Got an acorn falling on the roof. Part of the hazards of having an oak tree right next to your shop. So one of the other things to remember about this process is you're no longer shaping the body. So you're not going to get defects like a small dent or anything like that that you may come across is not going to come out of this. This is not body shaping anymore. You're just simply cutting down that top coat, that clear coat, and taking out the imperfections in it. But we are done with body shaping. So once you get to painting, you need to make sure that you're done with your body shaping, because there is no going back to that. Once you get to this, you're just correcting the top coat. That's all we're doing. You can see this is tedious. You're just doing small areas at a time, and you'll do this over and over. This is just one time. We're going to hit this again with 1500, then we're going to hit it again with the 3000. And each time we're taking out the scratches from the last time. So then we'll go over it another 4 different times with the buffer in different grits of polishing. So you can see that you'll go over this several times. It doesn't take a whole lot to get each section done, but still, it'll take a long time to do this. So certainly not going to do all this in one video. This is something that's going to take some time. So I just wanted to bring you in and let you watch me doing it in progress. And then I dry it. Because this is a whole lot faster if I've been waiting for that to dry, because you can't see what you've done and what you haven't done with when it's wet. So you got to dry it. All right, so I can see I got most of it, but I got right along in here where it's, you know, she dips down a little bit. And there's a little bit of trash areas, but they're really minor. So this one here is coming along pretty good. It shouldn't take too long. Okay, I just wanted to let you watch as I was doing the process, keeping it wet, all those things. Okay, so as you can see here, I have finished this top surface of this rear quarter. You can see it came out pretty good. I don't have any real problems. You know, I want to point out there are a couple of little areas here. They're small and they stand out like right now because everything's dull and that's shiny. But once you finish your cut and you buff this out, these are going to go away. I try to balance perfection with fear because, you know, my fear of cutting through all this and getting into that color. So I bring it down as far as I feel comfortable with. Most of the time, that's going to get everything out. But in this case, there's just a couple of areas. I don't know what happened there. Something, but it's certainly not something I'm going to worry about. This area here will be covered, I'm pretty sure, with all your molding and all that. But this spot here, let me see if I can get you. There you go. You see it. There's a spot there. They're really, really small, and by the time you gloss this thing back up, you're just not going to notice it. I mean, if I was building a car for SEMA or something like that, which, you know, I'm probably never going to do, I would really be worried about all that. But, you know, we'd be working all of this area and all that. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to do what we see. Anyway, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get onto this with the 1500. All I'm going to do there is I'm not looking to take out any imperfections. We should have already done that. What I'm going to be looking to do is take away the scratches from this 1200. So this particular go around of sanding really is going to go a lot faster. Once you're past getting all the imperfections out of it, then the sanding goes a lot faster. You're just sanding to remove scratches at that point. So that's what I'm going to do. But I want to show you guys something. You know, and I was noticing this, and I noticed this on some other things I painted on this car. But I want you to look at the light and how jagged it is as opposed to the top. See how the top looks a lot crisper and cleaner? And then as you come down, this looks really, really jagged. Well, that's because the orange peel on the sides of the car, on these vertical surfaces, are much more orange peeled than on these top surfaces. And I'm going to guess that's just a you know, normal. That, you know, when you're spraying this way, you get more orange peel than when you're spraying coming down. It lays out nicer on that top surfaces. Like I didn't have hardly any orange peel on this, but I can guarantee you I'll have more to deal with on these sides, just like right here. So, interesting. I don't know the answer to why. If anybody out there watching this is a painter and wants to jump in the comments and just let everybody know, I would appreciate that. Anyway, so with that said, we're going to move on. Yeah, I guess you can see my reflection there. So you guys are watching me. Hey. All right, I'm going to get that 1500 grit, and then I'll bring you back in when I got that done, show you that. Well, all right, guys, so looks like I got company. Loki came over. Pepper, get out of that water. That's sand water. Come on now. Crazy dog. All right. Anyway, Pepper and Loki joined us. Hey guys. All right. 1200, get out of there. Dog. All right, 1200's done. 1500's done. You don't really notice much difference here. Really. Every time we go up a grit, you're going to start to see the light come back into it. You can see it a little bit there, but light's going to come more and more into focus with each grit that we go up and buff. So, all right, let me get the. What you guys doing over there? Huh? Aren't cats and dogs supposed to hate each other? I guess not. Not here. Anyway, let's get the 3000 grit on this, and then I will get set up for the buffing. And one other thing on this, guys, I can't even tell you this is only the second time I've done this. The first time I did it was on my brother's Volkswagen when we painted it, and it's nerve-wracking. You know, when you're done painting, it looks beautiful. You're like, yeah, I don't want to touch it because it looks so good. But really, there's a lot of flaws in it that need to be pulled out of it. I mean, you don't have to. Again, it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're just trying to get it to a nice paint job on a car to make it, you know, look decent as a daily driver, do you need to do a cut and buff? Absolutely not. You never have to do a cut and buff. It just depends on what level of, you know, the paint job you want. So it's not a big deal. Anyways, you know, I just want you guys to know this is just as nerve-wracking for me as it probably will be for you on your first time. It never feels comfortable sanding on a brand new paint job, but it's what you have to do. So the other thing, you shouldn't do this, you can, but it is a whole lot easier to do it like right now before we put trim pieces on and windows and all those things start to go on the car. Cutting and buffing gets really, really, really difficult. And you can see, look down here on the side, look how messy it gets. That stuff will get into everything and you won't get it out. So it's a whole lot easier if you're going to cut and buff it. Do it before you start putting the car together. Let it cure up. Let it take a week or so to cure up. And then get on top of this thing and get it cut and buffed. It'll take you about a week. You know, roughly, depending on the size of the car, how much time you have to put into it. It's going to take you a few days to get the cut and buff done, but it's well worth it, and it's always going to be better to do it before you put all your trims and everything on. All right? Just wanted to give you the heads up on that. All right, so now let's take a look at it after I've got that 3000 grit on here. And I want you to notice the lights are starting to come in. You're starting to see a little bit of gloss come back. But look at those lights are starting to pick up some clarity. And it's hard to tell because of the scratches are still in there from the 3000 grit, but it's starting to get all that back. But you can look at it, you know, just look down here and you're starting to get that shine back. It's coming. I'm going to probably hit this one more time with the 3000. That's a big jump from 1500 to 3000. And I want to make sure I got all of those 1500 scratches out. So I'm going to go over this one more time just to be sure we don't, because, you know, one thing I've learned with my last cut and buff was if you don't get out the scratches, you're going to bury them in there and you get this kind of a hazy, milky look that stays in it. And, you know, you don't want that. You want to get all that out of there so you don't have that, you don't start to get this kind of a hazy look in your paint. So it's critical that each stage, you know, you're accomplishing what you're supposed to be accomplishing. All right, I'm going to hit it one more time because I feel like it'd be better to be safe than sorry on this before I start the buffing. So let me get that done, and then we'll bring you back in to start the buffing. All right, everybody, so we're back. And we're going to switch over from sanding to buffing. So we've got it smooth. You can see that. We don't have any orange peel in it. It all looks good. You see the clarity of the light coming in. So it's right where we want it. And let me show you what we're going to use now. So you're going to want to have microfiber. I've been using the microfiber, you know, when I did the cutting, but you'll need it again. So you got polishing compound, you got rubbing compound. We'll start with the rubbing compound because we're going to be using this coarser foam pad, which will help take out those 3000 grit scratches. And then we're just going to move our way to the medium, the fine, and then the ultra fine foam pads. So we'll start with the rubbing compound. After that, we're going to go to polishing. But we're only going to use the rubbing compound on this coarse one. That'll be it. And then from that point on, we'll switch to the polishing. All right, let me get you set up, and we will start. Oh, let me show you one more thing before I do that, because you want to make sure, as much as you can, that the one you're using, the polisher, has a random orbitable pad on it, just to help keep from having swirl marks, especially in a dark color car. You can see here, Harbor Freight Special, but we'll see. It's my first time using this one. Last one I used, I didn't have a random orbit, but on this car I think I should. Anyway, all right, let's get at it. All right, so I've got some rubbing compound on here, so let's start spreading it on here. One of the things I'm not doing while I do this, I don't even think you guys can see. I don't think that's very cool. Is putting hardly any pressure at all. I'm just basically guiding it and letting the weight of the tool do the work. So, can you see? Better? Okay. All right, let's see what we got. Gotta let it dry. The towel had a little water. I'm gonna get me a dry towel. That will, well, never mind. I have one. Okay. Let me get you up in here a little closer. All right, so you can see there's a, just keep going. You should be able to see the difference from where I buffed and where I didn't buff. I can certainly see it. There. Yeah. You see there, it starts to get a little bit hazy, and then still a little bit hazy in this area, but it is getting a whole lot better. See how crisp the lines are on those lights? That's what we're looking for. Okay, let me keep going. All right, let's show you what we got going here. So I have finished with the first pad. There, I get you here. So you can see the clarity starting to come back in. In all the areas that we did. So now we're going to switch to the next pad, and I'm going to switch to, oh, hi Dad. I'm going to switch to the polishing compound, and I'm going to switch to the next pad, which is the green pad, and then I'm going to work on that for a while, and we should see even more clarity when I get done with this. So let me get you set up. All right, got my stuff on here. One thing I want to mention is it's no different when you're running the buffer. You want to try to stay off of your body lines, all your sharp edges, because this will burn through your clear coat quickly as well. So try to stay off of those edges and body lines and different things like that, so that you're not burning through your top coat there. Otherwise, you know, like I was talking about earlier, let the machine do the work. Don't push down on it. It doesn't need it. Not going to make it any better. All right, here we go. One of the other things you want to do is keep it moving. Don't camp out in one spot and let that just sit there and dig swirl marks and stuff into your top coat. All right, so you saw how I kept it moving all the time. I never stopped. Also, don't run out of your polishing compound. Don't sit and run it dry on there either. So I know it's obvious. All right, I'm starting to see the reflection much better. Okay. Well, let's get you in here and take a look, all right, guys? Right? Okay. All right. There we go. Look at that American flag just shining away in there. Again. Reflection is starting to get clear. You're starting to see that pearl starting to come alive again. It's good to see that coming back. But anyway, you can see the progress. You know, you can see this. So we still got a little ways to go to get back to having that kind of that reflection, but we're getting there. If you look down it, we're getting there. It's looking good though. Looking good. Still got 3 more pads to buff. So there's plenty to do. I'm not 100% sure I'm done with this one. I'm probably going to hit this pad one more time on here just to make sure I've got all the buff marks out from the last one. All right, let's press on. Hey, all right, so we're on the yellow pad now, so we're just getting finer and finer. This is what they call the fine pad, so we'll see. It's looking good so far, though. Just keeps polishing out, you know, cleaner and crisper. So let's see what this one does. I'll show you when I'm done. You don't need to watch again. All right, let's bring you in and show you what that pad did. Okay. You can start to see how clear you can see that roof now. And my camera. There you go. Look at that. Look how clean that image is. You don't see any jagged edges. Looks really good. All right, let's get on to the next step. Last step's going to be right there, the ultra fine foam pad. That ought to put a nice gloss, I think. All right, let's put that on there and see if we can get done with that. But let's give you a nice look down there, and she's shining up really, really good. You can see along there, she's shining up. Yeah, this whole top side's looking really good. There you go. Last one. You can't see it, can you? It's white and white. All right, let me get it done, and I'll show you what I got when I'm done. Okay, guys, I've got it all done. And what I want to do is I'm going to take you to the other side that I didn't do yet. And I want to show you what this looks like, and then I'll bring you to the side that got cut and buffed. So let's start with this. I'll show you that, and then we'll go to the other side. All right, so on this side, you can see as we're walking along, look at the clarity. They're both going to have the same shine, but really look at that clarity of the light. And do you see how that edges are just jagged and dancing around as they go through that orange peel? Of course, you can see there's a little bit of trash in the paint and all those things. This is exactly what the other side looked like before I did it. So now, let's go over here and let's take a look at this. You can see how shiny that looks. Look how clear the image is. Sorry. Look how clean that light looks. Yeah, it looks really good. And it feels really good. Just super, super smooth. Yep, looks good. So, I like it. Now I've got the whole car to do. I hope you see the same thing. It doesn't look the same as I'm looking at it on the screen as it does in person. So maybe it's looking better than I think it does on the camera, but we'll see. All right, guys, we're going to end this one here. I'm not going to put you guys through watching me buff the rest of this car. I will buff this in and out of other jobs that I'm going to do. So I'll bring you updates on it in all the videos to come until it's done. So we're going to leave it here. I appreciate you guys coming and watching, like, subscribe, all those good things. And I'll see you on the next video. Not sure what it's going to be yet, but I'll see you there. All right, bye.